Welcome to Q&A, Social Security Disability Today. This program is brought to you by the Reeves Law Firm, representing you and your Social Security and disability needs. If you have a problem or questions regarding Social Security and disability, call attorney Anthony Reeves. Here's your host, attorney Anthony Reeves.
Now, it's very important for you to understand that when applying for Social Security disability benefits, that there are some conditions that are tougher to prove than others. I know I've said this quite a few times, but you bear the burden of proving that you're disabled. One of the ones that I find on a regular basis that are tough are seizure cases. Now, had someone ask me what happens when, their significant other has intractable seizures. I mean, these are usually seizures to such a level that they're so debilitating that, one, they're usually full grand mal seizures, which causes the violent convulsions, which sometimes are attributed by loss of time, defecating on yourself. It's a nice way of saying these seizures are so off the chain that when the person has them, they convulse, they fall out, they use the bathroom on themselves. Sometimes persons like this, when they can't even remember the time that passed. Of course, most people don't remember when they're having the seizures anyway. And in most instances, they are so drained by these seizures that they're either going to have a real bad headache. Like some of these people have bad headaches leading into the seizure, but they'll have a bad headache or they need to go crash for periods of time and go to sleep. And they have them repeatedly. I mean, this is not just a one every couple of months thing. They're having them on a regular basis. Here's what I tell people when people come to me with seizure cases and when they're saying, I can't find anybody who could represent me on my seizure case. I put seizures, and let me stop for a second to kind of help you understand something. I have a tendency, and I don't know if everybody else does, but I can't speak for everybody else. I can only talk about myself. There are certain conditions that it has been my experience that if you do the treatment you're supposed to, there is a presumption that the condition should be controlled. Now, you're going to say, what do you mean by that? Meaning, think about it. There are a lot of people out here who have epilepsy and have seizures who are still able to go to work and function in day-to-day society. Usually when it's a matter of getting the right the dilatant level or the right threshold level, getting them on the right medication, and as long as they're on the right and proper treatment and they have it under control, their seizures are kept under control. When people come to me and they're saying that their seizures are so off the chain, I'm going to ask a few questions. First of all, are you taking the medication the way you're supposed to? That's the first thing. 2, are you keeping track or a log of your seizures so that your doctors can know how often you're having them? 3, are you telling your doctors when you're having them? Because sometimes you'll see in there where it says seizures under control, and then the person comes to you and they'll say, oh man, I'm having a seizure once every couple of days. And I'm like, well, have you told your doctor that? Well, no. I'm like, well, then how's the doctor going to adjust your medication if you don't even tell the doctor this? Are you following what the doctors tell you? Are you keeping log? Are you letting doctors know about the severity? Have they adjusted your medication? And more importantly, what problems do you have with the seizures? Meaning, are you having the petit mal, meaning just the blank staring episodes? Are you having the grand mals, which is causing you to convulse? After you have the grand mals, how do you feel after you're done? Are you able to go back to doing what you were doing before? Do you need the time to kind of catch your breath and get your bearings and so forth? Have you ever been hospitalized due to the frequencies of your seizures? Trust me when I tell you, there's a difference between somebody who has a seizure every month as opposed to somebody who has a seizure every week. I say all these things because I have to remind people on a regular basis. When you're presenting your case to the Social Security Administration, what you are trying to do is you're trying to prove to them that your condition is of such the severity that they should approve you based on how bad it is. Seizures are tough because the idea is that if you're taking your medications, whether they be Dilantin, whatever medication they give you to monitor your seizure activity, you have to demonstrate to the Social Security Administration that despite your best efforts to do the treatment that they prescribe, that you're still having breakthrough seizures, that they're still happening with such regularity that you're not able to work in a normal competitive work environment. And a lot of times, Social Security, they're going to be looking for a few things. They're going to look at who are you going to see for treatment. Are you going to a neurologist? That's usually what they look for. Do you have a primary? You're going to the neurologist. They're looking at your dilatin level. How often are you getting your medications adjusted? Are there any seizure logs? They're looking for those things, and you want to be able to provide that information. I always have people come to me and say, oh, I got them off the chain. I've had to go to the hospital. I'm like, dude, remember, going to the hospital is when the wheels have fallen off the car. That is the worst case scenario. Okay? So you want to be able to show that despite your best effort to follow the treatment, the aggressive treatment regimen to stabilize your seizure activity, that you still have seizures that affects you to such a level that you could not do a job 8 hours a day,